summer programs off, and we're moving into, building the foundation for the season. And so, very pleased with our progress. I think we're ahead of where I thought we would be at this point. Last time we met, we weren't all that healthy. We're as healthy as we've been, and we'll be able to practice with 14 of our 15 players today, which is critical. Only one who isn't cleared right now is Darian Williams. He's going through concussion protocol. He's on the back end of that, and we'll continue to monitor his progress, but we anticipate having him middle of this week if he keeps hitting all the markers. It's something you don't want to rush anybody back from. And so he's the only guy that's that's out right now. Everybody else is available, and so very, very pleased with our progress this summer. As I mentioned, our strength and conditioning staff and our nutrition staff with Coach Golden, Coach Solsiak, and Allison Wade. They did a phenomenal job. On average, each kid decreased his body fat by about 2%. We increased our lean muscle mass about 7%. And then our lower body strength, which is the lifting part that most correlates to win shares, is lower body strength through deadlifts and those sort of things. We increased that by 65%. That was a huge point of emphasis for us moving in, and so our strength staff did a great job. We have an average deadlift of 772 pounds. Increased our bench press by about 30 pounds each. So pleased with that. On the court, really like where we are, particularly on offense. We're tracking about 3 percentage points ahead on our three-point shooting. We had 848 live 5-on-5 threes this summer, and we shot those at 38%, which is about 3 percentage points higher than where we thought we'd be with the roster we assembled, so that's tracking at a good number. We have 4 guys shooting over 40% from 3, which is huge, led by Paul McNeil on 112 threes. On 112 attempts, he's made 46% of his threes, which is phenomenal. So hopefully he can keep that moving. And the other part of threes is being able to get the ball to him without turning it over. And we're at about a 1.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio, which is solid, kind of tracks where we need it to be. And I'm most pleased our point guards, Trey and Q, are at 2 to 1, and Darian is at 3 to 1. And he kind of plays a little bit every. He can play point guard. He can play the 1 through the 4. He can play everywhere. But he has the ball in his hands a lot, and him being able to make good decisions is critical for us. And so we're very pleased with his 3 to 1, and the 2 point guards being at 2 to 1 is also very, very good. So I like where we are. I like where we're the work that we put in this summer. I think our players are in a really good place. We're healthy, and we're ready to get rolling. First practice today.
Got to ask you about the team retreat this past weekend. Obviously a little bit different than what some coaches might do. Some might say, hey, let's have some fun right beforehand. You guys.
We did have fun. Yeah.
But Navy SEAL training, I mean, what went into the thought process there, and how do you feel like the team came out of that?
Well, the retreat's much more than the Navy SEAL training. So the Navy SEAL training is on, we got there on a Friday. We got there Friday. No cell phone reception, except we got Wi-Fi in the camp mess hall. But outside of that, no cell phone reception at the cabins and everything. So, the bigger part is our guys staying together, our staff staying together. We had a session that night where we went over our team goals. We went over our team identity. We did some things like that. And then we did a night session with the SEALs. The next morning we wake up, we do a morning session with the SEALs. Then we have a whole day worth of programming. We had different speakers come in. We did some different things for our guys to get to know each other, for our staff to get to know each other. So we did all that during the day on Saturday. Then at night, we divided up into teams, and we did like a hostage kind of mission where you all had to work together for about 2 hours. So, and then Sunday we did another morning session with the SEALs, and then we closed out our program. So it's more than just the the SEAL stuff is a part of it, but it all works together. That's not the only part of it. And just like classroom part's not the only part of it. And so all of that works together, but, you know, I learned that our team, I knew that, but our team's got really, really good fiber. It was a great retreat. I mean, it was emotional. We had guys up there crying, talking about things. And so it was really, really good, for our group. And I've been doing retreat a long time, and I have one staff member that's been with me on almost all of them. He came to me afterwards and said, "What do you think?" I was like, "I think it went very well." He says, "I was going with that." I said, "Well, I agree. I just didn't want to say that." And so, you know, I think that, you know, we're starting to build some fiber with one another. And, everybody's starting to see some commonality, which will really help us as we move forward here. So I was very, very pleased overall, with the retreat. Although I'm getting a little old to keep doing all that stuff, so my body's hurting today. I had to get treatment this morning. I'm just kidding, but you know, it's you gotta lead from the front. So it only works if I'm out there with it. So try to get Ben up there to do something.
How did Darian end up in the concussion protocol?
He got hit in practice he fell down on an elbow. So that happened early the previous week practice. So you've got to clear the testing, and then you have a 5-day return to play, and he's in, I think, day 3 or 4 of the return to play. So he'll be back midweek, barring.
You mentioned his ability to play different positions and do different things. What is his primary role, do you see? And how important is it to be able to bring in a guy of that stature for future recruiting and just, you know,
I mean,
the
it's
status
good to
of the
bring in a
program?
guy of that stature because he's a damn good player. I mean, that's the most important part. And so, look, he's somebody that can play everywhere. I mean, look, when the ball's in his hands, good things are going to happen. He can either make a shot, he can either make a pass and find the open guy. Like, good stuff happens when he has the ball. Just like when Trey has the ball and Q has the ball, like good stuff happens. But Darian has incredible feel, and he's somebody that, I mean, we have him bring the ball up the court, we move him around. He's somebody that we can play a lot of different positions. He can play all 5 spots on the court, and being able to do that, manipulate matchups and manipulate things with them. I mean, he makes the game easy. The biggest thing he can do, and Q's like this as well, they can both put the defense in rotation without an on-ball screen. With their post-up game, either, you know, if you don't trap them, they're both gonna go lay the ball in. If you do trap them, they're both good passers and can pass out, and then we're playing 4-on-3, and the dominoes are knocked down, and we're off to the races. And so, you know, everybody works on ball screen coverage and that sort of thing, but when you got on-ball screens, and then you can put them in rotation in other ways. And Darian does a tremendous job of that.
You talked earlier in the summer about Q's ability to sort of translate the things you wanted to do to this new group of
Oh,
players.
wait, you were right on something we talked
I'm curious what you did, because
about. You're not always right, but you were right
so
on,
many
you were right on
things.
something, you were right on something we spoke about. I remember what you were talking about.
All right, we'll follow.
Sorry.
But having Q, you talked, having Q sort of a translator in some ways, a guide, has he filled that role the way you hoped?
More than I hoped. Quadir's been incredible. You know, the biggest thing he does is he gives everybody confidence. When he's out there, now he's talking a lot, but I mean, he gives guys. I told the media staff we can't do the mic'd up with him, or they're going to run out. They're going to run out of bandwidth on whatever they're storing it on. But you know, he gives guys confidence when he's playing with them, and he understands what we're doing. He did a great job leading on the retreat. You know, he knew the SEALs. We used the same guys for years. Like, he knew those guys. He does a great job leading, and he, you know, I have to be careful because he prepares the guys. Sometimes, you know, they zig, I like to zag, so he kind of it keeps me on my toes having him around because I can't use some of the same tricks all the time. But he's grown so much. You know, this time last year, you know, he was hardly even he wasn't even in the rotation at McNeese, and now he's firmly in our rotation and going to play a major role and have a lot of responsibility for our team and our program. And that just is his continual growth. Couldn't be more proud of him and more pleased in what he's done.
At Syracuse, especially in some of these games against triangle teams or big games, he had an ability to sort of get under the opposition's skin, we'll say. Do you encourage that, or, I mean, can you use that as a weapon, or do you have to reel him in a little bit sometimes?
Well, you'd rather tell somebody whoa than go. I'd rather back somebody up than try to get them going, right? So, I mean, certainly there's a fine line. You know, I look at it like it's a volcano. It builds up, you just can't have it overflow. You can't have it explode, right? So, you know, we wanna encourage him to be himself, and we don't wanna take him away from being himself. But certainly sometimes, you know, guys being themselves, not just Q, but anybody that can cross a little bit of a line. And we don't want him to cross that line. And so that's something that we certainly talk with him about, but he hasn't done that yet. And, look, he's one of those guys, our fans are gonna love him. I know they didn't love him when he was at Syracuse, but you love him when he's with you. You love him when he's with you.